this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Hey, everybody. The official Big Bang Theory podcast is back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Each week, host Jessica Radloff speaks with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, Mayim Bialik, and Kevin Sussman. Hear about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines. Watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max or wherever you get your podcasts. We've all tumbled down an internet rabbit hole trying to self-diagnose, and it leaves us more anxious than informed. Our feeds are full of wellness trends, but how do we know what's real, what's exaggerated, and what's just wrong? Health versus Hype from the American Medical Association breaks it all down. Emmy-nominated science communicator Trace Dominguez talks to doctors, influencers, and real people trying these trends, not to cancel them, but to understand them. Because when it comes to your health, who you listen to matters. So listen to Health versus Hype wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh, and there's Chuck. It's just us. There's no Jerry. There maybe never was.
Camp.
And this is Stuff You Should Know.
Camp.
What?
Camp.
Oh, camp.
Inside joke.
Yeah. Jerry's at camp right now.
Can I do a quick COA at the head here?
Sure.
The things we're going to be talking about today, folks, Internet Mysteries times 3. There are a lot of people who get very into this stuff. Specifically, the 3 things we're talking about, as with most Internet Mysteries. But we are certainly not going to get into it in the detail that will satisfy you. If this is something that you have researched a lot and have been super into, because, they're getting about 15 minutes apiece, and, just give us a break. We're doing our best to kind of cover it in a short amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was a good COA. That was like a true bona fide COA.
Yeah, because I've answered the question that you're probably going to want to email, which is, how could you not talk about blank?
Right, exactly. We're going to talk about as much as we can. And like you said, we got 3 amazing unsolved mysteries of the internet to discuss. There's plenty out there, but in my book, these are probably the 3 best, I think.
Ooh, all right.
I mean, there's
Josh's
a lot out
3.
there. And I'm saying I'm excluding true crime, obviously. These are just oddities that have not been solved at this point. Maybe never will be solved, but probably could be at some point. You never know.
Well, now we're just eating into our Cicada 3301.
Okay, I'm sorry. So let's talk first, I guess, then, yes, about Cicada 3301, shall we?
Sure. This was a series of 3 puzzles that were put out starting January 4th, 2012, then a year later, same date on the 13th, and then again, same date on the 14th on 4chan, and then eventually some clues would come out on Twitter. But they were posted online under the banner 3301 and have since become known as Cicada 3301 because many of the messages and clues ended up containing an image of a cicada.
Yeah, kind of like a stylized line drawing of a cicada. I've seen it compared very much to like the moth on the Silence of the Lambs poster.
Yeah, totally.
Especially the first image had a cicada in it. And cicadas are important because they come out every certain number of years, but those years are always prime numbers. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And in that first message that they sent out, they posted it on 4chan. And the post said, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck."
Cryptic.
It was super cryptic, but it definitely caught the attention of people. They posted it on the right social media platform. 4chan was a great one to post it on to get the attention of people who would want to do this. And the whole thing spread pretty quickly. People obviously immediately started trying to figure out what the hidden message was. So steganography is what it's called, hiding a message inside something else, usually an image. And it turns out there's all sorts of like tools out there on the internet that you can use to decode stuff like this. And so people just kind of set about getting busy with it, as some people say.
Yeah, and one of those kids, I assume you read the Rolling Stone article, or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, not for this one.
Okay, they had a really big, super long one that talked to two of the guys who were teenagers at the time, who were I think probably some of the first people that solved it. I'm not going to go on record and say the first, but one guy would only go by Tech, Tekk, and another guy's name was Marcus Warner. And they would eventually hook up online. But initially, this kid Tech, as a 15-year-old, learned that when he copied that image as a text document in Notepad, that you got what you would expect, which is a wall of text. But part of it was readable text that said Tiberius Claudius Caesar says, and then it had a bunch of alphanumeric text. He knew that the Caesar cipher is one of the oldest ciphers, one of the oldest kinds of encryption, which is a substitution cipher where, like, this, I don't know if the Caesar was literally A is 1, B is 2, but you can apply it to different, numbers. And he knew that Caesar was the fourth emperor, so he substituted 4 letters down from each of the letters that followed and discovered a hidden message.
Yeah.
A website, in fact.
Yeah, that was the thing. So one of the reasons why the Cicada 3301 puzzles captured the attention of some really smart and capable people is because they were multi-layered. Like, if you wanted to unlock one puzzle, you had to kind of go off over here and unlock a couple of other puzzles to unlock the key that you would take back to unlock the first puzzle, essentially. It was multi-layered, multi-step process. And this was no exception to it. That cipher that you had to decode from the first image took you to a website, I guess an image of a duck that just said, only decoys over here. And so you would think you just were sent intentionally down a blind alley. No, there was another hidden message in there, even though it didn't say that there was one. And so people would decipher that. It turned out that there was an encoded book. And then you could also find a link to a subreddit. And there were more passages from that book. And it turned out that book was a Welsh Arthurian legend. And another Reddit post contained some Mayan numerals that you had to decode. That became a key that you could use to analyze the Arthurian legend with. And then you got another solution, or another hint, I guess, to use from that point on. And what it said when you used that key to decode the Arthurian legend, it said, hey, here's a phone number, give us a call.
Yes. All this to say that some super smart, nerdy people were doing some super smart, nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
Having a good time, figuring this stuff out. And when they eventually got that phone number and called it, they got a message that said, very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original JPEG image. 3301 is one of them. You will have to find the other 2. Then multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com at the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
Yeah, and I didn't read the Rolling Stone profile, but another solver, I think he was profiled in a National Post or Telegraph article. His name was Joel Eriksson. He was from Sweden. I'm not sure how old he was at the time, but he figured out that probably the other prime numbers were the dimensions of that image, 509 pixels by 503 pixels, and it turned out he was right. So he multiplied all those, took the answer, put a .com on the end, and it took him to a website that had a countdown clock and a picture of a cicada. So he knew he was at the right spot. He'd multiplied correctly and guessed correctly. And when that clock finished counting down, the website updated, and there were a bunch of GPS coordinates that were posted all of a sudden.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, it said, find our symbol at the location nearest you. So all of a sudden, this thing jumped from the internet out into the real world with real physical coordinates, and it turned into kind of a scavenger hunt. There were 14 telephone poles all around the world, America, France, Japan, Poland, Russia, Spain, and other places. And all of a sudden, like, you would, I mean, if you could afford to and had the time, I guess you would go to the one closest to you, find that telephone pole flyer, and that had a QR code it, again, with the picture of that cicada.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to another cicada image with another riddle. And this one contained some poetry. I think it was from cyberpunk writer William Gibson's poem Agrippa,
Mm-hmm.
that was from 1992. And if you applied the key that they originally came up with to that poem, it led to another puzzle
Right.
that would eventually lead to a website. Wow.
Yeah, the website was the end. And so the guy, Joel Erickson, made it to the website. By the time he got there, it had been shut down for a couple of reasons. One, I think it was shut down a little under a month. And I guess they had posted on that website that they were disappointed that some people were collaborating. And they said they wanted the best, not followers. So they stopped the game. But apparently in the meantime, some people had solved it and gotten to the site, because a month later on that Reddit subreddit that they've been posting Arthurian legends and Mayan codes on, they said, we found the intelligent individuals we were looking for.
Right.
But the fact that Joel Erickson made it to that site, that was it. Like, he solved everything. He's considered a solver. He just got there too late because he heard about this after other people who started before him did.
Yeah, like Marcus Warner and Tech.
Exactly. And Marcus Warner is one of the few people who's known to have made it past that site, or gotten to that site within the time frame, the allotted time frame, and actually was in communication with the people who were behind Cicada 3301. He still has no idea exactly what they were doing or what they wanted, but based on the interview that they subjected him to and some of like the interactions he had with them, he guesses that they are some sort of hacker collective that is very much interested in promoting internet privacy and internet freedom.
Yeah, it sounds like they may have been looking for code breakers because they gave him a private test of creating a decryption mechanism.
Right.
And he failed that, I guess, or wasn't able to do it. So they got rid of him.
I had the impression he blew it off.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
saw that he wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, he just didn't deliver the goods. But for some reason, one of the readings I had about him, it just made it sound like he was just like, he lost interest, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. So to be clear, I believe what we just described was just that first puzzle.
Right.
And, we don't have the time to get into the rest of the puzzles. I think the first two were solved. I don't think anyone ever solved the third.
Really?
Before they permanently just removed every reference to it. I think about a month after that final puzzle was removed, they did post a message on 4chan once again that said, we have now found the individuals we sought, sort of like that original message.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, our month-long journey ends. You are undoubtedly wondering what it is that we do. We are much like a think tank in that our primary focus is on researching and developing techniques to aid the ideas we advocate. Liberty, privacy, security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you could tell it was written by a computer person because there's like very little punctuation and lots of run-ons and all that. So it seems legit. It checks out.
So who is it? NSA or CIA or somebody?
A lot of people say that, that it was an elaborate scheme to recruit, cybersecurity people and hackers from like the dark reaches of the internet. Somebody said that doesn't really make sense because they posted on 4chan and this was the era of Snowden. So they probably wouldn't have wanted people from 4chan at the time. That's not true. Snowden leaked in 2013 and the first puzzle was 2012. So it's possible it was the government. Entirely possible. But there were some other aspects of the whole contest that suggest it might have been otherwise, although some of this seems to have been purposely, deliberately misleading, right? Like there was a poster named Wind from Michigan, and she was kind of joining in like this collaborations on different sites until somebody figured out that she seemed to deliberately be giving out misleading information. And then there was a claim on Pastebin from somebody who said that they were an ex-Cicada member, that they were a military officer from a non-English speaking country that had been recruited by a superior, and that he said Cicada is actually a left-hand path religion disguised as a progressive scientific organization, and that it was comprised of very smart people who weren't happy with the way the world was going. So they wanted to transform humanity into the Nietzschean Übermensch.
Oh. Well, I did see stuff about religion. I saw some people posit that it was Julian Assange. There's all kinds of fun theories out there on who it might have been. I think the one thing is pretty clear. I feel really, really strongly that it probably wasn't just somebody having fun doing some cool scavenger hunt mystery puzzle thing on the internet. Like, it seemed like it was probably some kind of legit recruitment.
I agree. But I think my money's on a hacker collective, whether white hat or black hat, I don't know, but a group of hackers.
Does that mean good guys or bad guys?
Yeah.
I don't know all this terminology.
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can guess. You just did.
All right.
There you go.
Did I pass the test?
You did. You made it on to the next riddle.
Why did you just text me a wooden duck picture then?
That's right. Just decoys here. I say we take a break and we move on to the next mystery of the internet. How about that?
Ooh, tension builds.
Stuff you should know. Josh and Chuck. Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody. We're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well-designed, and they can be well-designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, when you're at work, you never know when you're going to get interrupted, like when an office fire drill happens right in the middle of your presentation, or maybe construction is going on just outside your window. But with the Dell Pro laptop powered by Intel Core Ultra with vPro, no matter how many interruptions you have, your laptop won't be one of them.
Yeah, with a battery that's optimized for the way you work and built-in intelligence that quiets distractions the moment you're trying to focus, your tech won't slow you down, even when you're getting bounced from an office you forgot to reserve. The Dell Pro, built for those who stay in the flow. Find technology built the way you work at Dell.com/Dell-Pro. Built for you.
Everyone knows winter is the real mess maker. You don't need WeatherTech floor liners for summer unless you hit the beach and half the beach ends up back in your car, or the campsite dirt ends up in your trunk. Then you'd want a cargo liner, or a road trip goes sideways, lemonade spills, ketchup goes rogue, ice cream drips. Yeah, you'd be pretty happy about those WeatherTech seat protectors. So just to be clear, as the mud you're inevitably going to step in this summer, you don't need WeatherTech unless you plan on doing summer. Visit WeatherTech.com today. All right, so mystery number 2, and I'm shocked I've never heard of this one as a music guy. Had you ever heard of it?
Yes, I don't remember exactly where, but I'd never really researched it until we started researching this. So for all intents and purposes, not really.
Okay. We're going to be talking about what's become known as the most mysterious song in the internet. And this was a song that sometime between 82 and 84, a guy named Darius S. Recorded in Germany on the north coast, the coast of Germany, Josh.
There's no such thing. They mean some sort of landlocked border, I think.
I think so. Reference to Old Bearer, by the way. But yeah, this guy did what all of us did in the early 80s, is we would sit around and listen to the radio and record songs from the radio onto our cassette deck so we could take them on the road with us. And he was doing this had a big mixtape of all these things from, the people that you would expect to hear from in 1984. About 25 of them, he wasn't sure who the songs were. And it sounds like he figured out who all of those songs came from, save one.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the only one that he did never figure out. He called those unknown ones his unknown pleasures, a Joy Division reference, right? Because most of this music was post-punk, new wave. And this song, this most mysterious song on the internet, is no exception. It sounds like a Rolling Stone writer put it. It has a rigid beat and dry monotone vocals and sounds like a synth pop hit you would have heard in a dance club in the 80s, which is true. Like all of that is true. But it has like a strong guitar riff, like early Joy Division. It kind of has a little bit of that, but it's also more produced than that. And the vocals, the lyrics and the vocals are incomprehensible, except in little snippets. And you hear just enough that, to me, the fact that you can't fully understand what the person's saying and it's so open to interpretation, I think that's what starts to suck people in the most.
Yeah, probably so. The only thing I'll disagree with about the Rolling Stone is that it sounded like a hit. I don't think the song's very good.
Oh, really? I find it, I wouldn't say good, but I find it definitely catchy.
I mean, it's okay, and I have been walking around singing it, so it must be a little catchy, but compared to the music of that era, and this is just my dumb opinion, I think it sounds like what I think it is, which was a fairly amateurish Eastern Bloc person recording a song that sounded a little bit like, the rest of the music of the era.
So the thing is, I don't know if we've said entirely yet, no one on the planet seems to know what the song is, what the name of the song is, or who the artist is who created this, what the band is or the solo artist, whoever. Not a single person on the planet. And you might be like, well, maybe you just haven't looked deep enough. Wrong. People have looked into the depths of 1980s Germany using all sorts of different tools to analyze the song digitally. I mean, like, people have really dug into this. And the other thing about it that makes it so impressive that it remains mysterious is that people have been searching for who made this song since before 2010. Let's tell them about that story, shall we?
Yeah, you mentioned using, modern tools. One of the mysteries from Darius was he was like, I guess in his German accent, which I'm not going to try.
Good.
Said, I'm not even sure, for sure that I taped it from this program on the NDR1 station in Germany, the Music for Young People program that he listened to. He's like, because I recorded stuff from other stations and other programs, but they have since proven that basically using spectrogram analysis. They actually pinpointed it and said, no, there was a 10 kilohertz line that this station used as like a modulation scheme that isn't found on other stations. And they found that modulation line in that song. So it was like, at least we know it was definitely from NDR1.
Right. So they figured that out. They also figured out that it was at least from 1984 because the Technics deck. Is it Technics or Techniques?
I always said Techniques, but who knows? That may have been wrong.
Okay. The tape deck made by Technics or Techniques, the brand, that he was using to record off the radio wasn't made until 1984.
That
and
helps.
you might think, well, okay, it could be 1985, 86. The other songs that are on this tape, which are known as cassette 4, were songs from Ecstasy, The Cure. I could not, for the life of me, find what songs they were, but everybody seems to be satisfied that these Ecstasy songs and Cure songs and other songs that were played on that were recorded on that same tape came out in 1984 or right before 1984. So the guess is that this was taped off of the radio between 1983 and 1984.
Yeah, and you know what? There's people that have time on their hands and technological wherewithal that we don't have. I'm calling on somebody somewhere to find and make a playlist of cassette 4 and put it on whatever your favorite streamer is.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not out there, actually.
I bet that's a banging playlist.
I'll bet it is too. So back to the story, the initial story of where this all came from. Darius, he apparently was content with just putting a question mark next to the song or in the song's place on the track listing on the cassette.
Yeah.
But his sister was not satisfied with that. His sister Lydia, who just goes by Lydia H in this Rolling Stone interview, she always really wanted to know who made this song. I don't know if obsession's the right word, but it was certainly something that drove her to some extent. And as the internet kind of blossomed and grew, I think starting in 2007, she started sharing it on the internet. There's a couple of sites that she posted it on initially. One a Canadian site, another a German site that are they crowdsource people to say what song is this, and that was the start of baffling internet users with this song.
Yeah, and that's where I would have expected an answer if there was one. It's on YouTube. You can listen to it. People on YouTube and other places too have tried to decipher the lyrics as best they can. It seems pretty clear that it's probably a foreign, or at least a non-American speaker, foreign to us.
But people are pretty sure it's in English.
No, it's definitely in English.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's clearly in English.
Great.
Are people debating that?
No, I don't think so.
You can't get all the words. You can get a lot of them. Like the Wind is the title that a lot of people have put on it because the very beginning of the song, it's like the wind.
But is it?
I don't even know if it's saying like the wind. It almost sounds like something again, but I can't even tell that part.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of names for the song, which the official generic name for it is TMS, the mysterious song or the most mysterious song on the internet. But people call it Blind the Wind, Locked Away. Some people think that's what he's saying instead of Like the Wind. I can hear it actually, as a matter of fact. And I can't remember what the line is, but there's other lines in there that make it sound like he is talking about being locked up. Check it in, check it out, take it in, take it out, Disco Woman. There's a lot of different names for this song based on what people think this guy is saying, because no one can say what the lyrics are. No one knows. You can't do it. And it's beware there, because there's madness that way. If you really start paying attention and trying to figure out what the lyrics are, friend, you are going to end up with a new hobby you may or may not want.
Yeah. They've gotten in touch with that original DJ who said, I don't know what that song was. I certainly don't remember playing it. No recollection of it whatsoever. This was a time, obviously, when Germany was split in half, or maybe not technically half, by the Cold War. And, the DJs were like, we would get like tapes thrown over the wall at us that we didn't even know what they were, but they were just music that people wanted us to hear and play. Here's my theory.
Okay.
Occam's Razor, man. It's a song that someone made and they died and no one knew they made it.
I guess that is probably the simplest solution. Yes. It's just no one knowing that person made it. No one recognizing that person's voice. I mean, this is widespread.
Yeah.
And it's possible just the right person hasn't heard it yet. I don't know. But I kind of tend to agree with you. I think that's probably what happened. It was an obscure East German or Eastern Bloc musician who managed to get their tape out. And I mean, that's not unprecedented. Tapes went both ways through the Iron Curtain during the Cold War. There's a really great documentary called Chuck Norris versus Communism that came out in 2015. And it's about how people smuggling in American action movies into Romania, they think essentially led to the downfall of Nicolae Ceausescu and his regime, because people kind of saw how life could be. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Did Chuck Norris win?
Yeah, he won, because there's no more communism in Romania, as far as I know.
Do you know what would be great? I mean, I'm 53 years old. I'm way into music, and I've gone down some rabbit holes about music. I had never heard of this before this week. Like, maybe the person who made it literally has never heard this whole mystery. And in a year, someone's like, hey, that was me.
I know. I think that a lot of people would be really sad when that happened.
Yeah, then just keep it to yourself, buddy, if that's the case. Everyone likes a mystery a little bit more.
So let's talk about a couple more things that people have done for this investigation. I mean, you said spectrography, right? Am I saying that correctly?
I don't know. Spectrograph?
Yes.
Spectrography?
I think so. It sounds right.
Jeez.
So in addition to that, people, and in addition to getting in touch with Paul Baskerville, the DJ who hosted that show in 1984, people have gotten in touch with the archivist at that radio station and gotten a full list of playlists for every single episode of that radio show. This song does not turn up on it. Don't forget, though, they've proven that it was played on this radio station. So they started looking at playlists for other radio shows. And they've gotten a substantial number of them. Still hasn't turned up on any playlist, anything that could be this song. And then someone else essentially pinned this song in between 1983 and 1984 because they believe that the synthesizer that was used was a specific type of Yamaha, a DX7, that was not available until 1983. Isn't that nuts that people have done all this?
That one's the most believable because that's just how keyboard nerds are, but sure.
Yeah, I just think that's super cool that people have just tried all of this different stuff and it still is just not budging. It will not budge.
Yeah, and again, if that guy's out there, just, let that be your own little secret. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the case. Maybe this person knows this and they just think this is awesome and, who knows? That's why it's a great mystery.
His friends and family are like, why are you always tittering to yourself? It's so weird.
Why are you talking about the wind?
So if you haven't heard the song, it's worth going to check out. Just look up the most mysterious song on the internet and you will find it for sure. Although you can also look up Like the Wind and Mysterious and all that stuff and it'll turn it up.
Yeah. And to be clear, I don't think it's like a bad song. I just think it's not like it didn't become a big hit for a reason. Yeah,
I think hit is a little overly generous too. I'm with you. But you could still have heard it at like an 80s club on like New Wave night for sure.
Yeah, there was plenty of worse music than this back then.
For sure. But there was also a lot of really good music too.
Like the Wind.
It's Locked really away.
Disco Girl.
Okay. Well, I think we reached the end of the most mysterious song on the internet, our second of our three mysteries of the internet. And we'll take a message break. We'll come back and we will reveal the third after this.
Stuff you should know. Josh and Chuck. Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody. When you're at work, you never know when you're going to get interrupted, like when an office fire drill happens right in the middle of your presentation, or maybe construction is going on just outside your window. But with the Dell Pro laptop powered by Intel Core Ultra with vPro, no matter how many interruptions you have, your laptop won't be one of them.
Yeah, with a battery that's optimized for the way you work and built-in intelligence that quiets distractions the moment you're trying to focus, your tech won't slow you down, even when you're getting bounced from an office you forgot to reserve. The Dell Pro, built for those who stay in the flow. Find technology built the way you work at Dell.com/Dell-Pro. Built for you.
Everyone knows winter is the real mess maker. You don't need WeatherTech floor liners for summer unless you hit the beach and half the beach ends up back in your car, or the campsite dirt ends up in your trunk. Then you'd want a cargo liner, or a road trip goes sideways, lemonade spills, ketchup goes rogue, ice cream drips. Yeah, you'd be pretty happy about those WeatherTech seat protectors. So just to be clear, as the mud you're inevitably going to step in this summer, you don't need WeatherTech unless you plan on doing summer. Visit WeatherTech.com today.
The universe is full of mysteries. Black holes, quantum physics, galaxies. On TikTok, millions of people are learning more about the universe around them every day. Scientists break down complex theories, demonstrate experiments, and connect dots between the cosmos and our daily lives. One scroll might reveal the concepts on the fabric of space-time, the next an optical illusion. It's discovery on a massive scale, where millions learn something new every day.
We're back, and dude, This could be a whole other show for us. Just 3 mysteries per week, 15 minutes a pop.
You like that, huh?
I don't know. It's kind of fun.
Careful
did a
what
good
you
job
say.
with this.
Do you have time on your hands like that?
Oh, no. I quit my other show for a reason. And
Well,
you
yeah.
as well.
We need to edit that part out, man. I don't want the wrong people to hear that and be like, hey, that's a great idea.
All right. Take it away, my friend.
Oh, okay. Here we go. We're talking about what, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 great mysteries of the internet.
Yeah, I think I agree.
The mystery of John Titor. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I've only ever seen it written down. I've never heard anybody say it out loud. But I've heard that name for a long time because this is a ancient internet mystery. And as a matter of fact, it turns out it seems to predate essentially the internet, or at the very least, it finds its origin off the internet through fax machines and the radio, no less.
Yeah, and this is another one that a lot of people have gotten really into. Like I went on Reddit and was kind of looking at some stuff, and it broke my brain such that I was like, all right, we're gonna do our best to give a little overview here.
Yeah, I think something about the most mysterious song on the internet, it seems far more wholesome and less
Yeah.
dark. For some reason, getting sucked into the John Titor mystery seems like you could really just go crazy, essentially.
Well, the first one was either like MI6 or CIA. This one is possible time traveler and Civil War, and the middle one was like a cool synth pop hit.
Yeah, so let's just tell them a little bit about John Titor, okay? John Titor is a internet-based, that no one's ever seen or spoken to him in real life, poster who claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2036 in America, an America that had been racked, like you said, by civil war that had gone on for a while, but was ended by World War III, which presumably that brought America together again. And that it seems like the American economy has completely collapsed and everybody's much more family and local community centered. And he said that the average day in the life in 2036 outside Tampa, Florida, where he's from, is like a day on the farm. And you might be like, wow, that's pretty descriptive. That is the tip of the iceberg of the information that John Titor willingly gave out as a time traveler on the internet, starting in 1997 or 8, and then in 2000 again.
Yeah, he said the U.S. had been divided into 5 zones, and that time travel had been invented 2 years previous in 2034. But let's back up to where this started, because it all started in, like you said, pre-internet in a very kind of unlikely way, I think, by somebody sending a couple of faxes to a radio show, Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM. And this was read on the air, and then a couple of years later posted basically the same thing online on the Time Travel Institute site, which is a site that's been around since 97, dedicated to temporal sciences. And the user's name was Time Travel _0. So like we said, time traveler from the future, and started saying things like, there were 6 components to the time machine. There was an onboard cesium clocks, twin microsingularities, which are tiny, very tiny black holes. That he traveled using a stationary mass temporal displacement unit powered by 2 topspin dual positive singularities, producing a typical offset Tipler sinusoid. And it was put in the back of a 66 Corvette.
Yeah, very Back to the Future.
That's the part that gets me.
Right.
Very Back to the Future.
The thing about John Titor and the posts that he posted are that this stuff what sounds like gibberish is actually not at all made up. For example, a Tipler sinusoid refers to a theoretical type of time travel that was proposed in the 70s by a physicist named Frank Tipler. And he essentially figured out mathematically that if you could take 2 huge masses, many times denser than the sun, say 2 black holes, and pull them out, spaghettify them essentially, and then spin them really fast, like billions of rotations a second, what you would do is essentially pull open space-time and open essentially a portal to somewhere in the future, possibly somewhere in the past, possibly galaxies away from where you started. And again, this is hypothetical, theoretical, but this is not something that the average person is walking around in their head, like that the Tipler sinusoid exists.
Oh,
so
sure.
I'm just impressed and that's just another example where if you put all this stuff together and all of the how different and complementary and very infrequently contradictory the information that John Titor gave out was, I see how some people who believe that time travel is possible consider John Titor an actual time traveler.
Okay.
I don't, but I could see how people do. It's just so convincing. Like the stuff he says is so convincing, and he seems to have no agenda whatsoever. That's the other thing.
I'm not so sure about that part, but he would go on to talk, again, he was a U.S. soldier in Tampa, living on a river in a treehouse, and said that he was there on an official mission. He was supposed to, he was, sent back in time by his, I guess the Army or the U.S. government, but he stopped off for a personal reasons in 2000, basically to get family pictures that were lost during the Civil War, mementos to visit his family, that kind of thing.
Right.
But the official mission that he was sent back for, supposedly by the federal government, was to go back to Minnesota in 1975 to get an IBM 5100, which was the first portable computer. And his grandfather supposedly worked on developing this thing. And so that's why he was sent back to get this computer so they could debug legacy computer programs that they were obsolete and they couldn't work with anymore because they didn't have this old working computer.
Right. And so that's cool. That's an obscure computer. Again, most people aren't walking around with awareness that the IBM 5100 ever existed. But even more than that, John Titor said that the reason they wanted a 5100 is because it had a specific, unique component to it. It apparently could run other programs written for like those huge mainframes, and that was the reason they needed it in the future, and that IBM had actually like kept this quiet. And it turns out that's true. I think the Rochester, Minnesota Post-Bulletin got in touch with one of their local residents who worked on the IBM 5100 in the mid-'70s, who confirmed like that's absolutely true. There was this little quirk that was peculiar to the 5100, and IBM did not publicize this at all. So it's just so bizarre that this person knew that, and that was the reason that they were sent back into the future. I mean, come on, dude. Like, think about how creative that is if the guy's just a hoaxer.
Yeah. So he goes on to, and this is a very key thing, is he went on to say, by the way, the many worlds theory of physics is correct, which means that, for every possible different outcome, the universe splits into different versions to accommodate those outcomes. He's like, that's all true. So the fact that I'm saying, well, he didn't say this part, but the fact that he talks about the George W. Bush election sowing discord and there being an uprising and a civil war in the 2000s, the fact that none of that happened, he said, that's just because that I went back in time and changed the outcome. So basically, anything I say, you can't prove wrong.
That's one part of it, yes. He was saying, like, because his very presence would change it, and that he came from a different time stream himself. The other implication of that is that he can't possibly create a paradox. Even going and visiting his family, and I read his 3-year-old self in 2000, would not create a paradox because he comes from a different time stream, did not exist in this time stream until he hopped over to it. So there's no paradox for him being there and meeting himself as a younger kid, right? Again, really genius details that. So I feel like I'm coming off like I'm trying to convince listeners to believe that this is real. That's not the case. If you do believe it's real, great. I'm just so thoroughly impressed with the creativity behind every component and facet of what John Titor said that it's just, I'm just in awe, agog even, you could say.
So as this thing gained steam over the years, he finally eventually made a post in March 2001 that said, this is, the last post. I'm going back to 2036. Smell you later. And he wrote this big, long, kind of fairly deep philosophical take on what he learned and what he saw, and also the fact that he had already been talking about the fact that, like, by the way, people in the future don't think you're too great, and that you guys haven't been doing the right things, and you kind of screwed everything up for the future. So he kind of writes this kind of nice long thing at the end, which was ended with "Farewell, John." And, there's a lot of symbolism going on. Like, I encourage people to read it in full because it's pretty cool.
It is very cool. But he basically says, like, here's why I'm leaving and why I won't be back, or recommend anybody come back here either, because you guys don't take care of one another. Like, he talked about how people who were stranded on the side of the road with car trouble, people just drive past them. Nobody stops. And he asked his family that he was visiting why people don't stop. And they were saying, it's too dangerous to stop and pick somebody up. You never know if they're going to kill you. And they need to learn the lesson about making sure you don't run out of gas in the first place. And he's just like aghast at this, at how people treat one another in America in the early 2000s. And in that farewell thing, he said, make sure you keep a gas can with you for when your car dies on the side of the road. And I'm going back to this time and place where, community and family is absolutely everything.
A utopia, if you will.
A bit. But he didn't talk it up like a utopia. It sounded like it was probably, you or I would consider it hard living, but to him it was vastly superior to the kind of lifestyle that we live pre-Civil War here in the United States in 2024.
Yeah, so this is one that a lot of people have tried to solve over the years. I feel like it's been solved personally. Probably. Signs, there were people that got on the web and started looking at metadata and, like, what's it called when you can pinpoint where something came from? Oh, I can't think of it now.
Pinpointing?
No, something to deal with your computer and where it was posting from. Anyway,
geolocating.
Yeah, but there's another word for it. I don't know. People are just yelling at me. But long story short, both the metadata and this method of pinpointing that a website called Hoax Hunter conducted this investigation pointed to this area of Florida in both cases. So that really narrowed it down. And then I believe they also found a registration to, like, an LLC or a company with the word Titer in it, that all it had was a P.O. box from that same area of Florida. And so they basically think that it is, there are three brothers, the Haber brothers. For my money, it's Larry or his younger brother, John, and not the older brother, Maury Haber.
Yeah, so Larry Haber exists, Maury Haber exists. I've seen that John Haber does not exist. But the Habers they certainly have something to do with this, because, like you said, they run the John Titer Foundation, and Larry Haber claims to be the legal representative of Kay Titer, John Titer's mother. She doesn't seem to exist either. And it's possible the whole thing was just a hoax carried out by these guys. Totally possible. But what's interesting is I turned up another article that interviews in part a guy named Joseph Matheny, who's a multimedia artist, who said, we were the ones who started this whole thing by sending those faxes to Art Bell, and we stopped after that. And apparently some Coast to Coast fans took up the mantle and carried it on from there a couple of years later. So two groups that weren't communicating or working with one another were inadvertently collaborating, or one was collaborating with the other later on, to create this whole hoax that was the John Titer mystery.
Now, where did you see that the youngest brother didn't exist?
Well, I know that Larry Haber, I believe it was Larry, who said, I don't have a brother, John. And I think I saw somewhere else that John is not real, that there's not a John Haber.
Interesting, because I saw quotes from John, but like, I think it's one of those things where you can't trust anything you're reading at this point.
Exactly, 100%. Because, again, Larry Haber is saying that he represents Kay Titer, and Kay Titer doesn't seem to exist. Like, there's a lot of people. Again, people have not met these people. Everything has been on the internet. So there's no telling who is involved or who isn't involved, who's real, who's not real. It's fascinating in that regard. So there's multi-layers to what makes this whole mystery just so great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're on the internet. Those two guys, I mean, at least the two guys are.
Yeah.
And like one of them is a very well-to-do business person. And I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, the Habers definitely exist. Larry and Maury and possibly John, but I saw he doesn't.
Right. I understand.
Okay. Well, no, I was wrapping it up for everybody else. I know you know.
Gotcha.
I think that's it, right, Chuck?
I got nothing else. I mean, but a deep sense of unfulfilled, podcast dutydom.
Right. I'm with you on that. Since Chuck said dutydom, of course that means he's just unlocked listener mail.
I'm going to call this Tomato Fun Fact from Brian Kriebel. Or maybe it's Kreibel. In Germany, it would be Kriebel, but who knows? Hey guys, in the salsa episode, you mentioned that when Europeans first encountered tomatoes, they thought they were deadly because they remember the nightshade family. I forget where I learned this, but this idea was initially fueled because some of them were actually killed by eating tomatoes. However, it was not the tomatoes that killed them. They were eating them off lead plates, and the acid from the tomatoes dissolved some of the lead, which was then consumed along with the tomatoes, thus killing some. This is what led to the belief that tomatoes were poisonous and persisted throughout Europe for a little while. One little bit of hubris for a group that thought they knew everything there was to know, and that they were a step above the indigenous communities. Burn!
Who was that from?
That was from Brian.
Brian, that's awesome. Thank you very much. I've definitely never heard that one, so thanks for filling that out for us. And if you want to fill something out for us like Brian did, you can send it via email too. Wrap it up, spank it on the bottom, and send it off to stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5, featuring more connection.
Hey Google, where's the nearest Pilates class?
Safety that has your back. More discovery on the scenic routes. More passion in the details. And more control in changing weather. The all-new Mazda CX-5. More to move every side of you. See it in 5 films at MazdaUSA.com/5sides.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC. Sequences shortened and simulated.
When it comes to small business, people want to talk to people, not bots, not voicemail. Your customers or clients want a real human connection. And that's exactly what they get with Ruby. Ruby is the virtual receptionist company that takes care of your callers when you're unavailable, in the middle of something, or just don't want to pick up. They can answer, screen, and transfer calls, as well as take messages, collect payments, book appointments, and more. All while saving you time and making the people you serve feel special. It's available 24/7, 365 days a year, and is 100% based in the U.S. See how it works at ruby.com, or better yet, give them a call at 844-900-RUBY. Hey everybody, there's a lot of noise in the business world today. Leaders like you need clear insights from professionals you can trust. Navigating Beyond the Expected is a new podcast from Truist Securities featuring conversations with investment banking experts at the center of financing deals in manufacturing, healthcare, entertainment, and more. It's practical advice for leaders who need to know what's coming next. Subscribe at truist.com/Beyond Podcast.
Copyright Truist Securities Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.